Hey everybody, welcome back. Kovak here, and for this one, be doing a video that I've been meaning to do for quite some time now. Been putting it off for quite a while now, but hoping to get it out today. And that is the best pets. I'll be going over the best pets that I feel like are best for countering and dealing with both Anomalus as well as some anomalous helpers, is what I like to call them. Basically, pets that pair very well with Anomalus, such as Infernal Pyreclaw. So, I'll be showing a couple of pets that can deal with both Anomalus as well as those. Now, clearly, there are way more pets than just these. These are just 30 pets that I selected. Some are better than others, but this list contains some pets that are easier to acquire than others, and that's something that I kind of want to lead towards because not everybody has a whole bunch of gold to go out and buy some of these, because some of these are pretty rare and expensive on the auction house. So just want to kind of keep your options open if you are, say, maybe a newer pet battler or one that's got, a lot of pets on hand, and maybe you have all of these. So before we dive into the list here, I'd like to actually go over the menace that this video is dedicated to, being Anomalus. Now, he is very, very, very freaking easy to acquire and basically brain dead to use. He is from the Visions back in BFA. Not too sure if many people do those nowadays. I'm sure you can, so it still wouldn't be hard to get. And if you don't want to go through the troubles of that, he is absolutely dirt cheap on the auction house. I've seen some for less than 100 gold at times, so I don't know if he's still priced that way now, but he's just basically very, very freaking inexpensive. So not a hard pet to get your hands on, and totally could have up to 3 of them if you wanted. I do have a second one here, as you can see. I think I did get it from a vision. But anywho, what makes Anomalus such the overpowered menace that he is? Possibly the best pet in the game currently. So he's got pretty high attack power. One of the highest attack powers in the game at being 362. Very fast speed. He's not the slowest pet in the world, so he can surprisingly outspeed quite a bit of stuff. So don't let that fool you there. As well as his health. You really cannot be fooled by that. He is one of the very few magic types that actually take advantage of the ratio, being that they can't take more than 35% of their health and damage by one attack. So there's absolutely no way to one-shot this pet, such as a minefield, because I'm guessing you're assuming that, hey, if a minefield crit or something, it'd be able to either one-shot or almost kill it, because it has barely over 1,000. Wrong. It is a magic type, so if it was any other type, Anomalus wouldn't be as good as he is, but he's one of the very few magic types that actually take advantage of that. Now, Anomalus himself, he's basically a jack of all trades. He can basically run anything on him that you'd like and perform very well. The only thing that I recommend not running is Contagion Strike, but if you want to, you totally can. Poison Protocol is just way better. Way freaking better. Now, the way that I usually like to go is Ooze Touch, Toxic Fumes, Poison Protocol. I may swap out for Corrosion at times, and I may swap out for Void Nova at times. It's just about my particular team that I'm centering him around. So it just really depends on, I guess, the situation and your playstyle with him, how you want to run him. But like I said, you could basically do whatever you want and perform very, very freaking well. He just does so much burst damage up front. He does so much AoE with both Void Nova and Poison Protocol. Just a very, very freaking tough pet to deal with. So I figured I'd put together a video to hopefully help some people out there who are struggling quite a bit with this pet, because I have seen some people run 3 of these damn things on the same team. So that can be very annoying to go against. So hopefully this helps at least one person out there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into this here. Now, no in particular order are these pets labeled from the weakest to deal with Anomalus to the strongest. I just kind of slapped them together, so keep that in mind. I've got 30 pets here. Like I said, there are way more than this, so without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it, starting out with the Bronze Whelpling, one of the better pets to actually counter Anomalus. First of all, with its fast speed, it's got Crystal Prison, so you're able to stun it. Bronze Whelpling is from the whole Iron Horror thing in Blasted Lands, so pretty low drop chance, plus in the box you have a chance of one of the 4 breeds. Obviously, the breed you want is the SS breed, but you can get them off the auction house. Now, what makes Bronze Whelpling so well against Anomalus is, again, like the speed, you're able to stun him, go for arcane slashes. You are faster, so you will get the extra damage off, and then you have liftoff to, yet again, avoid damage from Anomalus and land damage on him. Now, with the Bronze Whelpling, assuming that it is a 1v1, also most of these will be assuming that it is a 1v1 with that pet versus Anomalus. I believe Anomalus will only get 1 attack off, maybe 2, if you're just doing the Bronze Whelpling, because if you start out with Bronze Whelpling, Crystal Prison, Arcane Slash, I think a 3rd one will take him out. So, I think that is, yeah, 1 hit if you just keep doing Arcane Slashes and they stay on their Anomalus. So yeah, overall, really solid pet for dealing with Anomalus. A bit on the rare side because you do kind of need the SS breed, and a little bit pricey on the auction house, but if you want to go out and get it yourself, hey, by all means, kill as many of those orcs as you want. Moving on to Little Nefarian. Now this pet, pretty much everybody will have it. Well, most people, considering if you picked it up from the whole anniversary some time ago. So there's that. See, as you can see there, 15th anniversary. Thing with Little Nefarian goes, quite a bit of health to deal with Anomalus, quite a bit of attack power. The speed doesn't really matter all that much because the thing with Little Nefarian here, plenty of strong dragon damage there. You've got Dragon's Call, which, you know, versus Anomalus, not going to do very well because he is a magic type, so he's not going to be taking all that crazy damage right there, but it's still there. The better option is Draconic Remedy, because at least with that, especially if it's an all-dragonkin team, if you have an Anomalus that's just blowing you up constantly with AoE, at least you're able to heal both your Little Nefarian as well as your backline pets, assuming that they are dragonkin. Because otherwise, this heal will not serve you very well as compared to something like Haunting Song. Haunting Song would be way better. Anywho, and then also you got Scorched Earth here, which does strong damage up front. Obviously not going to one-shot Anomalus, thanks to that good old magic ratio, but at least with Scorched Earth, if the opponent is running Toxic Fumes, you're able to change the weather on them. Plus the little dot from Scorched Earth isn't half bad. Tick damage on Anomalus, it'll be about 100 or so, depending on the attack power of the pet. So overall, Little Nefarian, not a half bad pet versus Anomalus, but there are definitely better. But pretty accessible, as most people will have this pet. Next up, we have the Nether Fairy Dragon. Pretty easy to acquire, as it is wild caught, and I believe Fairless. Yeah, there are a crap ton of them, so it's not hard to find at all. It's just all about getting the correct breed, which is the SS breed. Obvious abilities that you're going to want to run it versus Anomalus are going to be Arcane Blast, Evanescence, and Moonfire. Now, assuming that it is 1v1, I believe sort of the same as Bronze Whelpling. I believe it'll only get maybe 1 hit off, potentially a second on the Nether Fairy. But since this is a dodge and not a stun, if the opponent decides to go for AoEs, then you're not really preventing a whole lot of damage. So Nether Fairy is not the best in the world for countering Anomalus, but thanks to the speed and pretty great damage output as well as a dodge, it does do decent. So not too bad, but not the best either. So yeah, there's the Nether Fairy Dragon there. Next up, I might as well go ahead and change that there. Next up, we do have the Anubis Idol. Quite a bit of Sandstorm users on this list, as Sandstorm pretty much completely shuts down Anomalus, except if he has that one basic attack that does quite a bit of damage up front, other than corrosion. The name of the ability is escaping me right now, but you know what you all know what I'm talking about, is what I'm trying to say there. Sandstorm, no-brainer, pretty much shuts down the most of the AoE, pretty much completely shuts down Poison Protocol, as well as the other AoE that he has. Doesn't completely shut it down, but it does for the most part with the whole damage negate there. Nimbus Sapphire with its high health should have zero problems going head-to-head versus an Anomalus, as well as an Anomalus team, unless of course you're just unlucky and you miss a whole bunch. That's one thing that might screw you over. Now obviously he is from AQ. Also, you can't get him off the auction house. Not very expensive, I don't think, as, you know, Nibsap titles are kind of dime a dozen. As well as him being one of the more annoyingly strong pets in the meta today, so not very hard to get. Most people should have this thing, so just really solid counter versus Anomalus. Sandstorm, obviously, Crush, and then really could run either of these versus Anomalus, but Deflection might be the better way to go. So yeah, Nubis Sapphire, pretty great counter for Anomalus. Next up, we have Baby Winston, which is a really, really solid counter versus both Anomalus as well as pets that greatly help Anomalus. So the reason why, well, first of all, not everyone's going to have a Baby Winston, but if you do, very great for you. It is a promotional pet. I was gifted mine from an awesome viewer of mine, so pat on the back for them. That was very awesome of them. The big thing for Baby Winston, has quite a bit of health, quite a bit of attack power too to deal with Anomalus, as well as other pets helping Anomalus. Now the thing that I did not know, and a viewer of mine had to point out, I thought was very awesome, is that Barrier Projector is basically like a shell armor, but counts for your whole freaking team. It is basically a team-wide shield, essentially. And I had zero idea of that until I recently used Baby Winston, and I believe it was my family brawler team for humanoids, and he just completely blocked basically all of AoE damage, so that is freaking amazing there. So no brainer there. It basically takes care of both Poison Protocol and Void Nova, so that's very freaking awesome there. As well as having Tesla Cannon, which is very strong versus Beast, which most of the time Beast will be paired with Anomalus, such as the Infernal Pyroclaw, you got the Kunjong Hatchling, you got a couple of spiders with Puncture Wound and Huge Fang. So most of the pets paired with Anomalus are going to be Beast. So you do have that strong damage there, as well as taking weak damage from them if they have any Beast damage. So, well, oops, I was looking at this. You're not going to take weak damage from the Beast. You're just going to be doing strong damage versus him. He is a humanoid after all. Oh, I can't believe I didn't notice that. I was looking at Tesla Cannon, so apologies for that. But anyway, yeah, Baby Winston, very strong versus both Anomalus. Basically shuts down all of his AoE and then deals with other pets accompanying Anomalus quite well. So if you got one, cool. If you don't, I'm not too sure if you could still get him. So yeah, Baby Winston. Next up, we do have the Cursed Dune Watcher. Cursed Dune Watcher, I believe, has the same amount of health as Anomalus, which is kind of funny. Very high attack power as well as speed, so you are going to be outspeeding him. He's got Sandstorm, obviously, so that's basically going to shut down his AoE, and then Stone Skin, so you can basically double dip on your defenses on the Cursed Dune Watcher. So if you're going head to head, you should have no problems going against him. The main thing you're going to have to worry about is Toxic Fumes on Anomalus, because he can change the weather. Since you are faster, you kind of have to be careful about when you use your Sandstorm, because if you go for it right off the bat, it's not going to do all that much damage to Anomalus, because he is a magic type after all. And if he decides to go for his weather, he's just going to pop you right back with his weather, doing maximum damage with a little bit of it negated thanks to Sandstorm. But I mean, there is also that chance that it could miss, which would be hilarious. But yeah, you just got to really keep in mind when to use your Sandstorm when it is appropriate. Kind of dancing around his own weather is what I'm trying to get at there. So the Cursed Dune Watcher is a drop from the Oldham Accord supplies. I'm not too sure on the drop chance, but you can pick them up on the auction house. Prices will vary depending on server, so just keep that in mind. You can really run either of these two. Again, Stoneskin Sandstorm will take down both Anomalus as well as shut down quite a bit of AoE overall. So really solid option right here with the Cursed Dune Watcher. Next up, now it was pretty difficult to find any flying types that were really solid versus Anomalus. I'm sure there might be others, but most of the time, birds are going to get absolutely shut down by Anomalus, including Darkness birds. So I feel like the Direbeak Hatchling is probably the best, if not one of the best birds to actually deal with Anomalus up front. So obviously, also it is from the whole... It is from Legion. You have to go to that specific area that has the Direbeak. The world quest has to be up, and then I think you have to have a certain type of berry, some type of food, and then after you kill the little mother of this thing, the NPC will pop up, and I think you basically get the pet from there. So it might be time gated. You might have to wait a little while for the world quest. But anywho, back to Direbeak. Flying type, so it will be going first, assuming that you're below your threshold there. Obviously, you got Falcosaur Swarm, Iron Skin, and then Predatory Strike. You're going to be wanting to run those. Now, with Iron Skin, you're not going to be taking that much damage from him, especially if he's running double AoE. But your backline will be suffering heavily. But as far as bursting him down, you're going to want to start with Iron Skin. Go straight into Falcosaur Swarm. By the time that's done, Anomalus should be close to dead, so either another Falcosaur Swarm or Predatory Strike should take him down. I'm not 100% sure on that, but overall, Direbeak Hatchling is a pretty decent flying type counter, as, like I said, flying types really suffer versus Anomalus, so yeah. Especially if he's taking the hard-hitting basic attack. If he's running Corrosion, you're not going to get hit by that as long as you have Iron Skin up. So, other than that, Direbeak, not a half-bad option. Now, next up we have Frostwolf Ghost Pup, which is really solid. Not so much for countering Anomalus 1v1, but he is very solid for healing up that insane amount of AoE damage in the form of Haunting Song, like I mentioned earlier. 4-round cooldown, does quite a bit of healing to all of your pets, so there's that. That's the main thing that Frostwolf has going for him. 3 scratches should be able to take down Anomalus, but Anomalus is obviously faster, so assuming he has the double AoE, he's going to be getting quite a bit of AoE damage and potentially a second Void Nova out, so you're going to want to be quick about taking him down if you're fully relying on the Frostwolf here. Obviously going to be wanting him to run Scratch, Haunting Song, Ghostly Bite. He is from Archaeology. Pretty inexpensive on the auction house, so yeah, there you go. There's Frostwolf Ghost Pup. Kier Tunneler. Again, sort of like the Cursed Dune Watcher. Really, really good counter versus Anomalus, as well as Anomalus teams. Mostly for Sandstorm and Shell Shield, so it's able to double dip, like I said again. Kier Tunneler has more attack power than Cursed Dune Watcher, meaning you are going to reduce even more damage from Anomalus's AoE. As attack power, well, the damage negated with Sandstorm is based off the pet's attack power, and since Kier Tunneler has a lot of attack power, you're negating 90 on top of the 90 from Shell Shield, so the Kier Tunneler is going to be taking very little to no damage if it is a 1v1 versus Anomalus, as well as other pets that may accompany Anomalus. So Kier Tunneler, one of my favorite pets of all time. Probably my favorite critter. Just a really, really damn good tier 1 pet. One of the better pets now. It is quite expensive on the auction house and a little bit rare, so prices will vary, but if you want to give it a try, it is from one of the rares in Oldham. Not even going to attempt to pronounce that name. But yeah, pretty low drop chance there. Or if you just want to buy it off the auction house, really, really solid counter right there. Highly recommend the Critter Tunneler. Alright, next up we have a couple of critters here. We've got the Frostwolf Rat. Obviously you are faster than Anomalus, so you will be getting off your crouch there. You got Flurry, which it has been changed, but I recommend just running with Sneak Attack. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and change Sneak Attack right there just for the lulz. You can run Crouch if you want. Refuge might be a really good option, especially if you're running an all-critter team. This will block either, Poison Protocol or Void Nova that you're not looking to take. So there's that. Probably going to want to run Crouch 9 times out of 10, because I'm sure most people aren't going to be running a full critter team just for fun. Probably mostly to get their achievement if they haven't already. Then obviously you got Call Darkness to pair up with not only Sneak Attack, but also to change the weather from Toxic Fumes over to Call Darkness. Now again, like I mentioned before, with pets that are faster than Anomalus, you really have to be careful and sort of predict when they're going to use Toxic Fumes, if they have it. So you just have to keep that in mind. Frostwolf Rat is wild caught, so pretty easy to get. Might take you a while to find the correct breed, which is SS breed after all. It is in Frostfire Ridge if you are looking to go ahead and pick him up, if you haven't already. Next up we have the Shimmerbow Hoarder, which is from some sort of treasure in Ardenweld, but you can pick him up off the auction house. I want to say he is pretty inexpensive. Now this pet has been surprising me quite a bit recently, as it is quite decent, not only versus Anomalus, but quite a bit of other pets. So first things first, it's got Flash, so you're able to screw with the hit chance of Anomalus. You are faster, so you should be getting this off first. Assuming that Anomalus stays in, you have Sneak Attack to pair with Flash, so you'll be doing additional damage there. Not too sure if a Flash Sneak Attack will be enough to kill him, but I'm sure that another Sneak Attack after that might be able to. If not, you do have Nibble here. As long as you are faster, it will stun. Obviously, you are faster than Anomalus, so if you feel like you need to go for a Nibble, go ahead and go for it. So, might as well take down Anomalus without taking too much unnecessary AoE damage, am I right? Had to take a swig there from talking so much. But anyway, Shimmerbow Hoarder, really decent pet. Highly recommend picking this pet up if you are interested. It is quite decent versus Anomalus. Next up we have Snowboard Rat. Now Snowboard Rat isn't the biggest counter in the world. Now obviously you are faster, so you can take advantage of Kick. You do have Call of Winter to not only change the Toxic Fumes weather, but also to get out some decent AoE damage, especially if the weather is already Blizzard. You'll do additional damage. Plus, if you're running Snowball, you'll be dealing additional damage with that under Blizzard. So, like I said, not the biggest counter in the world. Doesn't have the most attack power in the world, but, I mean, Kick, a weather changer right there. It's pretty decent. Pretty decent stuff. He is from apparently Ice Howl and the Trial of Crusader, so kind of a pain to get if you're not really into the Trial of Crusader. I've never done it myself, so I've just bought mine on the auction house. As far as prices go, they will vary, but I've seen them for about 10k or so, 10 to 15k. It really depends on the server, like I said. But overall, Snowboard Rat, not the worst pet in the world, but not the best as far as countering Anomalus, but it's still a decent option if you are interested. Alright, so next up we have Trunks. Not too sure why I got a cereal there. Go ahead and save that. Trunks, he is from the Awfully Big Adventure, so this pet will take quite a while to get. However, he's not the best pet in the world for countering Anomalus. Main reason why I've got him here is he hits quite hard, so a couple of whacks should take down Anomalus. Plus, he does have a nice weather changer here to change the weather from toxic fumes to moonfire, and a very, very overly damaged avalanche here to potentially finish off a low health Anomalus that they might swap out. So that's really solid there. Not really going to explain the awfully big adventure. I'm sure that most people understand how that goes. So this pet may take you a while to get if you haven't already, but decent counter nonetheless. Next up we have Hound, who is not, again, one of the pets who's not the biggest counter in the world, but is kind of decent. You are faster, so you can swap him out with Retrieve. You have Puppies of the Flame if you are running that. However, I don't really recommend that because that's just allowing Anomalus more time to get out more AoE. I don't really recommend blazing it because I believe that only counts for the first hit, and if it's doing AoE, then it's not going to be the best. So Obsidian Bite is definitely the way to go. Magma Trap, if you can get it to go off, maybe the first turn that you set it out, that is really solid because that probably will either prevent him from getting any damage, if not, maybe just one hit. So I gotta get pretty lucky there if you want to try to prevent as little to no damage with a Hound versus Anomalus. So Hound, very easy to get, inexpensive on the auction house, but if you want to go get one yourself, it is a drop chance from Shanax in the Firelands. Breed that you're definitely going to want is the speed balance, as it barely outspeeds Anomalus with his 297. So overall, not a half bad counter versus Anomalus. Next up, we have Nightshade Sproutling, one of the better pets in the meta, I'd have to say, with its freaking amazing racial. It being able to outspeed Anomalus. The main thing about it is its rarity and probably cost. Cost will vary, but the main thing is getting the SS breed. You need the SS breed. I cannot stress that enough. No other breed's going to cut it here. But with it having all breeds available to it, it may take you a while to find it if you don't have one already. Obviously, I'm going to want to be running Blinding Poison here, as you will be faster. You have a weather changer, so you could totally change the weather on Anomalus. And then you're obviously going to be running Lash, so you will be getting that extra hit since you are faster. Also, if I ever stop and don't hear me talking, it's probably because I'm taking a swig of my drink. With all this talking, it does dry your mouth out quite a bit, so there's that. Just want to point that out there. So yeah, Nightshade Sproutling, biggest thing about it is its rarity. I mean, if you do want to chance it and try to get one your own. So basically the way it works is when you go to pick an herb in Warlords, you have a small chance to spawn an NPC. It is a little, like, Sproutling like this. And then upon killing it, you have, again, a small chance to loot the Nightshade Sproutling. So it's pretty tedious to get. So if you can find an SS breed on the auction house, that is definitely your best way of getting one. So with the Nightshade Sproutling here, pop them with Blinding Poison. You can either go for a Lasher or Call Darkness, whatever the situation calls for. If you get lucky with your triple hits on Lash, I want to say that Anomalus will either get one hit, if not zero. So very decent counter right here with Nightshade Sproutling, I'd have to say. So definitely recommend getting that if you haven't already. Next up, Rot Breath. Now, hear me out here. Rot Breath has got to be one of the better counters for not only Anomalus, but also other pets paired with Anomalus, as well as a full team of either 2 or 3 Anomalus. Now, true story. I faced a team one time that was triple Anomalus. I had Rot Breath on my team. I want to say it was just a standard triple breath team. Completely soloed all 3 of them with Rot Breath. All thanks to Spike Skin. Now, with Spike Skin, does deal extra damage to magic types. And then when your beast ratio kicks in, you're dealing even more damage. And since Anomalus is doing quite a bit of AoE damage and upfront damage, they are getting popped quite a bit by this. So you'd be surprised at how well Spike Skin is able to tear through Anomalus. So really freaking amazing counter right here. You can basically run whatever build you want up here. You just want to make sure you have Spike Skin, because I promise you, you will not regret it. You're not only dealing a lot of damage to Anomalus when he hits you, but you are reducing quite a bit of damage as well. So, Rot Breath, probably the rarest pet on this list, as prices will go well over 100k. I've seen some for 150, 200k. He's just a really, really rare pet. So, if you can get your hands on one, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. He is a drop again from the Oldham rares, so, and the rare is also pretty damn difficult to kill. So on top of that, that just adds on to the rarity of Rot Breath. But again, if you can get your hands on this damn thing, one of the best counters for Anomalus. So yeah, highly recommend that right there. Next up, we actually have the Crystal Spider. Very easy to pet to get. It is wild caught in winter spring, so pretty accessible. The breed that you're going to want, though, is the HS, as it's barely faster. 292 is not going to cut it on the balance. So you want to make sure that you do have the correct breed. Now, kind of similar to the Bronze Whelpling, you got Crystal Prison here. So kind of want to start out with that. I don't think the webbing ability matters, but if you're trying to burst him down as quickly as possible, Sticky Web might be enough to just barely get enough damage to kill him. I'm not 100% sure on that. I want to say that Anomalus will get one hit no matter what, unless if you get a bunch of crits with your Spiderling Swarm. But if you do put Brittle Webbing on him every time he goes for an AoE, he's going to get popped 3 times, as well as the extra damage from the beast ratio whenever that kicks in. So I'll leave that up to you, whichever weapon you want to run with. But Crystal Prison is a no-brainer. Throw up your webbing after that, and then Spiderling Swarm, and each one of those 4 hits does have a chance to crit, mind you. So if the stars align with you, when you're going for this, you can potentially take him out without him dealing any damage. So yeah, just keep that in mind there. So Crystal Spider, easy pet to get, pretty decent counter for Anomalus. Next up, we have Whomper, which I almost freaking forgot about before starting this recording, but I completely remembered him from Disco Doggy mentioning him. Now, the thing with Whomper, he's not able to outspeed him, but you are able to with Flash Freeze, which does quite a bit of damage and reduces speed for 5 freaking turns, which is amazing. Pair that up with Deep Freeze, you're able to stun him, and then from there, just go for a punch or 2, and then Anomalus is down. Anomalus will get off 1 attack at least, assuming that your opponent does stay on Anomalus because he is faster. Other than that, you will reduce all damage except for 1 attack. So Whomper, really great counter there. Now you will have to slide $10 towards Blizzard's Way if you want to acquire this pet, as it is from the pet shop. However, if you want to save, I guess if you want to save on a little bit of money, you can wait until Christmas time for when prices are reduced from $10 to $5 per pet. But you know, Christmas is quite a while away. $10 isn't that much to most people, so I mean, if you want them, you get them, but if not, I mean, there are plenty of other options. So I guess sort of a pay to win kind of pet for countering Anomalus. So overall, Whomper, really great counter, as Anomalus will only get off 1 attack. Next up, we have Twilight, which once again is a shop pet. Probably the best shop pet, I'd have to say, especially with the whole weather buff recently. So that just adds on to how good it is. So basically the build you're going to want to go with. So Anomalus is barely faster than you. Obviously Twilight Fire, Surge of Light, Cold Darkness. So at least if Anomalus does decide go for its weather right off the bat. You can change the weather right back on him. Then from there, go for a Surge of Light. And then assuming you don't miss either of those, go for a Twilight Fire. And that should very much be the end of Anomalus right there. So overall, pretty decent counter. If they don't have the weather on their Anomalus, no problem. It's just meaning that you're probably going to take extra AoE damage. Although there is a chance that 10%, I might add, that each one of those hits could miss. So again, if stars align for you, Twilight can serve you quite well versus Anomalus. So yeah, Twilight, pretty decent counter there. Next up, we have the Mongoose Pup, which I'd have to say, pretty underrated pet. A pet that you really, really don't see all too often, as doesn't have a whole lot of health, so it really does get frowned upon. However, it has insane speed, and something very good for aquatics is that Anomalus ditches out quite a bit of dot AoE damage, so at least with that, the aquatic ratio will be reducing the amount of damage that you take from that, such as Poison Protocol and Corrosion, stuff like that. So you're already going to be taking reduced damage from stuff like that. Not Void Nova though, because Void Nova is not a dot AoE, it's just simply an AoE, so there's that. So basically your build is going to be these three right here. I want to say the best way to go about taking Anomalus down as quickly as possible is just simply going for Gnaw, but even at that rate, Anomalus is going to be getting out quite a bit of damage. So again, this is one of those pets that isn't particularly the best counter, but it is there for those who want an easy time acquiring an easy to get pet, because it is wild caught in town long steps. So SS breed is the way to go, although you could run the power speed breed, as it is faster than Anomalus, and that is extra attack power. So hey, the power speed breed might actually be the better way to go if you plan on using a Mongoose Pup to take down Anomalus. So yeah, take that back. So power speed might even get the kill with 2 or 3 Gnaws, so yeah, that might actually be the better way to go. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, Mongoose Pup, if you're interested, go ahead and pick up him. Next up, Sandclaw Sunshow, which is a wild caught pet in Nashatar, so pretty easy to get right there. I don't think the breed matters all too much. I just prefer the health power breed overall, as it has the most health. With the attack power, I don't think the speed matters all that much, because Anomalus is going to be faster than you no matter what. But you do have the aquatic ratio to help out versus that dot AoE damage, like I mentioned before. You're definitely going to be wanting to run Frostbit versus Anomalus. I don't know why I had pinch saved right there, but so yeah, Call of Winter. Again, AoE damage right back at them, changes the weather, and then you have Frostbit to buff up your damage. So, and then on top of that, you do have the choice of Bubble here. It will, and since Anomalus is faster than you, when you go for Bubble, you'll technically block 2 attacks after setting it up, of course. So, there's that. You do have Shell Armor, but again, you're not very fast, so Call of Winter probably is the better way to go, but overall, Sandclaw Sunshow, not a half bad pet versus Anomalus. Not the best, but again, not half bad. Alright, next up we have the Shadowback Crawler. Again, one of the more underrated pets, I'd have to say. You don't see it a whole lot, but some, such as myself, might call it an upper tier pet, as it is almost like a bronze whelpling, because it's got the SS breed, it's got a basic attack, it's got Crystal Prison, but what kind of puts it a little bit of a step forward is that it has a really hard-hitting weather building in the form of Cold Darkness. So you're not only able to change the weather on them, you're able to do great damage there. You have your basic attack here that's not weak versus magic types, such as Water Jet. And then you have Crystal Prison. So, again, pretty decent counter. Not the best in the world, like I said, because Anomalus will be getting off like an attack or two. But, again, with Call of Darkness. Anomalus does have chances to miss, so there is always a chance of that. Shadowback Crawler is Wildcaught in Stormsong Valley. Again, with the Nightshade Sproutling. And believe me, it took me a while to find my very first SS breed. You're going to want the SS breed. There's just no other breed that's going to cut it here. Anomalus is just going to tear through that poor crab, so yeah, that might take you a while like it did for me, but overall, Shadowback Crawler, pretty decent pet. Next up, we have Tongue Lasher, which is from Island Expeditions. I'm sure people still do Island Expeditions, maybe not as much as they did before, but it still very much is a thing, so you can acquire it from there. I'm also sure that you can potentially acquire it from the whole doubloon boxes. I'm not too sure about that, but only one breed available to it, SS. It is faster than Anomalus, which is the most important thing there. You can buy it off the auction house. I don't think it's that expensive. Maybe about 10k or less or so, I'm not too sure. Pretty decent pet overall, and pretty great against Anomalus. Again, aquatic racial. Gonna be wanting to run Tongue Lash. Again, if you get lucky with your Tongue Lashes, you could take Anomalus out quicker than anticipated. You have Toxic Skin here, which is pretty decent, or if you want to throw a super sticky goo on and prevent him from swapping. And then you do have Quagga's Wrath here, which is very useful. It is an AoE, and it can swap out Anomalus, so that way you can interrupt its turn for a turn. So there's that. Tongue Lasher, decent counter there. Not the best in the world, like I said, but again, it's still there if you are interested. Next up, and we are starting to get more into mechanicals, which are some of the better counters for Anomalus. Keep in mind that Anomalus can deal strong damage back to them, technically, because Poison Protocol. The initial hit is considered beast damage, but the dot from Poison Protocol is elemental, so mechanicals will be taking strong damage from that, so just keep that in mind. But the Armored Vault Bot, it is in Mechagon. I'm still not 100% sure how you get this thing. I want to say it is a drop from a rare or something like that. You can purchase it off the auction house. Again, prices will vary depending on server. I don't think I paid all that much for mine. I want to say prices usually range anywhere from 20 to maybe 30k, maybe less. I'm not too sure. But the main thing that Armor Vault Bot has got going for him is that, for one, takes weak damage from some of Anomalus's attack, and two, just look at that health pool. Look at that. So, could be wanting to run Metal. Well, I was about to say Metal Fist. I mean, you could really run either of these. I usually run Coin Toss. Make It Rain. There's no way in hell that you can outspeed Anomalus, so Clobber is basically useless. And then Money Meteor, as it's a pretty decent AoE. So, yeah, overall, Armored Vault Bot, pretty decent. Probably not going to take Anomalus down as quickly as you would probably want. But, again, it's still there if you decide to use it for Anomalus. Alright, next up we have Lil XT. Now, if you... I just heard Lil XT do that funny, ready to play animation. Too freaking hilarious. But anyway, if you don't have Lil XT, as Blizzard did remove this pet off the pet shop. It used to be on the pet shop, but it is not currently for whatever reason. The other alternative is Landra's Lil XT, which is not as good as Lil XT because the other one has less health and I think more speed, and speed does not matter in this pet at all. You actually kind of want to be slower. Now you're going to be wanting to run Zap here, Heartbroken, and Typanic Tantrum. Typanic Tantrum is going to be your main bread and butter here. If you're able to get Anomalus to get a dot on you, you're basically guaranteed to get that extra buff damage from Heartbroken. So not only is Anomalus going to be taking quite a bit of damage up front, But the backline pets are going to be taking quite a bit of damage. And like I said earlier, most pets paired with Anomalus, when it's centered around sort of a poison team, are beasts. So you can kind of put 2 and 2 together and figure out where this is going. They're going to be taking a crap ton of damage, whether they're on the front line or the back line. Obviously, they'll be taking more damage on the front line, but you get my drift here. But yeah, overall, Lil XD is a really solid for both Anomalus and Anomalus team. So if you have them, great. If you don't, then your alternative is Landros Lil XT, which is a trading card pet. So, oops, didn't mean to hit that there. Which is hell of expensive on the auction house. So yeah, pretty rare pet here, I'd have to say. But if you have them, cool. Next up, we have Mechanical Pandaren Dragonland, which is probably, along with Rot Breath, he is one of the best, if not probably the best counter to Anomalus. He's mechanical, like I said. Oh yeah, he is from engineering, so not too sure what the requirements there are for making him, but you can get him off the auction house, as he is pretty expensive. He is an SS breed that is faster than Anomalus, obviously. You have Breath, which is dealing strong damage to him. Thunderbolt, which is always great. Potentially finish off Anomalus. That's a little help in the back row. And then you have Decoy. Plus, you are taking weak damage from Anomalus, as you are a mechanical type. But just as much as you're able to counter Anomalus with the Pandaren Dragonland, Anomalus can be somewhat decent versus the Dragonland too, because for one, with the AoE, you are able to take down the MPD's Decoy quite handily. Another thing, like I said, the poison from Poison Protocol is considered elemental damage, so you'll be taking extra damage from that. And I think that might be it. It's just mostly that Anomalus can take down your Decoy pretty quickly if you don't watch out for that. But again, one of the best counters for Anomalus, hands down, as well as a couple of pets that are paired with Anomalus. So highly recommend getting this pet if you're having a whole lot of trouble with Anomalus. Next up, we have the Lifelike Mechanical Frostbor, which again is from engineering and Warlord. So, but the good news is it's pretty inexpensive on the auction house. Again, mechanical types, that's great. So versus Anomalus, you're probably going to want to roll with the SS breed, but I'm sure the other breeds do have their uses here and there, so I wouldn't disregard them, but they're probably not as good as the SS breed, if you know what I mean. Because that way you are faster, take advantage of Decoy, same as MPD. But once again, like I said, that Decoy could get taken down pretty quickly, so just be careful of that. Really, you could run either or of these abilities. You're just not going to be doing a whole lot of damage / healing with Pig Out. Rebuild might be the better way to go, as it's a decent heal, and if you have other mechanical types on your team, that's going to be a heal for them, because they're going to be taking some AoE damage. Then obviously you're going to be wanting to run Missile, because Charge, you're already faster, so why the hell would you need Charge? So yeah, Lifelike Mechanical Frostbor, decent counter, not as good as MPD, but again, decent and pretty easy to get your hands on. Alright, so our last few pets that we have here, we have the Fosling. Pretty well known and pretty accessible pet. Most people will have this thing, so if you don't, very freaking easy to get. It is in a couple of places. It is in Shadowmoon Valley or Tanan Jungle, so very freaking easy to acquire there. Any breed should be good to go, except maybe the HS, because you don't need the speed. You're already going to get sped by Anomalus there, so that's kind of useless in that regard, but really any breed is pretty good. You can basically run most things on him. Flame Breath is going to be dealing extra damage to Anomalus, as well as put a dot on them if you decide to swap out. Immolate is a dot of its own right there. Scorched Earth for changing the weather, as well as dealing some decent damage with the little tick there. And then Conflagrate. So overall, Fell Flame, pretty decent Wildcaught pet versus Anomalus. So pick that up if you haven't already. Next up we have the Fire Beetle / Lava Beetle. They basically had the same moveset, I want to say, so that's great there. They are both Wildcaught in a bunch of different places, as you can see there. Multiple breeds available to them. I don't think a breed matters all that much, except maybe the HS, because you don't really need the speed. Main thing that's going to be going for you in your favor is Hiss. That way you can deal damage as well as slow them down. Take advantage of Flank, and then again, Scorched Earth, just like the Fell Flame. That's some decent tick damage right there from the weather on Anomalus, so, as well as being able to change the weather on him. So, pretty decent counter there with the Beetle. You just gonna want to worry about taking them down as quickly as possible. So triple hit flanks are appreciated. And then lastly, what I have here is Fosling, who is not only able to take reduced damage here with Stone Skin, but you're able to do some damage back with Crush, and then Quake to deal not only decent damage to Anomalus up front, but similar to Typanic Tantrum, deal some decent AoE damage to Beast types in the back row. So again, Fosling, really good versus both Anomalus as well as pets on Anomalus' team, like Infernal Pyroclaw and the Kunchong. So really solid stuff there. Fosling is a drop in the Raffi Highlands, but if you just want to pick him up off the auction house, he is pretty inexpensive, so there's that. I don't think the breed of it really matters all that much, but the health power does have the extra attack power, so I recommend just grabbing that if you're able to, because the extra attack power is appreciated. So yeah, Fosling, really solid there. So yeah, that comes to an end there. Now again, these are just 30 pets that I kind of sort of picked out that I believe do pretty well versus Anomalus, as well as, again, pets on Anomalus' team. Obviously there are way more, and I'm sure there are other people who have opinions on pets that they feel like would do pretty well, so be sure to let me know your opinions on this below. Obviously this is all my opinion, I'm just sharing this with you to sort of help you out if you're having trouble with Anomalus. Because I know that I see my fair share of Anomalus as well as other people. I'll have viewers of mine tell me from time to time that of horror stories that they have with them. So yeah, this is quite the menace. So I figured I'd go ahead and put out sort of a guide to hopefully help you deal with him a little bit more. So let's go ahead and look him back up here. Not too sure what Blizzard could do to nerf him if they do decide to nerf him. I mean, he's been around ever since late BFA, so he might potentially get nerfed by the end of Shadowlands. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Blizzard will do nothing. They always take a long ass time to react and change a pet. They sure as hell did with the freaking Terraclaw at one point with Hermit Crab, so always takes them a long damn time, and it makes zero sense. But anyway, enough ranting on about that. Again, these are some pets that deal with Anomalus quite well as a couple of pets that make it paired up with Anomalus. The best pet being the Infernal Pyroclaw. So again, if you have any sort of suggestions for perhaps myself or other people watching for pets that you recommend, definitely feel free to let me know, as I might be, influenced to use that pet versus Anomalus in the future. So yeah, that will wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for watching. Really hope this helps some people out there, and as well as hope you all enjoyed. This is Kovac, and until next time, you all have a nice day. And stay Anomalus free.